fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
All right, guys, we are back. Broke Bets Lane here on the mic. We got Carson as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we came off of the previous card, went 8-3 on our picks. We'll talk about our bets for the previous card at the end, but to get into these fights right away, we got Themba Gorimbo versus Takashi Sato. Taking Gorimbo in this matchup. Sato is just too one-dimensional for me. He sits just on his left hand for every single fight. He's on a cold streak. Gorimbo obviously hasn't had a lot to prove so far, but I think he can use that length of his. He can use the push kicks and stay at range. Obviously, Sato has just got that left-hand neutralizer, but I think he's going to have to just wait the whole fight for that shot, and I'll take Gorimbo by decision in this fight. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, close fight. Pick a mods here. You could really go either way. If you're going Sato, I mean, you're probably looking at his experience. I mean, he has like 6-7 UFC fights, and this would be Gorimbo's second. His only loss his first loss was the AJ Fletcher in the guillotine choke.
Right.
But yeah, I think Gorimbo will be able to use his range here and take advantage of that and win a decision.
Yeah, I see a stand-up fight in this. However, I think Gorimbo, although he's not much of a wrestler, he could still have a wrestling advantage over Sato. You know, Sato's been matched up with a lot of wrestlers prior. You know, I would even consider Brian Battle somewhat of a wrestler, but Gunnar Nelson, Baeza, Witt, Muhammad, that's a lot of wrestlers in a row. But yeah, I don't like picking people who are gonna wait for that big strike this whole fight. I'll take Gorimbo here. And we're doing a new format today just because these fights are not the best on this card. We're gonna speed run this one a little bit. Our next fight, we have Victoria Leonardo versus Natalia Silva. If you're picking Victoria Leonardo, you might want to go to the doctor's office and check yourself for a mental disability. We're taking Natalia.
Well, that would be 4% of the people here on Tapology.
Ooh, yeah. Well, statistically, that makes sense, I guess. We're taking her by a round one knockout. Pound for pound, probably in my opinion, creme de la creme of the women's division in hotness. Natalia Silva is just going to be faster, stop the wrestling. I mean, you saw her last fight. I think Teresa Blade's got better grappling than Victoria Leonardo does. And Victoria Leonardo beat Mandy Bum, and she sucks. So, you know, you guys all just saw that. So, Natalia Silva.
I see what you did there.
Yes.
Yeah, all day, Natalia Silva, which is rare. A woman looks this good and fights so well. So she is one of a kind.
You know, she really is like Amanda Ribas. Like, she fights very similar. She's got like some powerful strikes and also very good takedown defense and grappling. So I think she actually will be better than Amanda Ribas going forward too. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah, she's still only 26. So.
All right, keep moving on. Next fight, Chase Hooper versus Nick Fiore. I have been a Chase Hooper doubter. I don't hate the guy, but I'm not a big fan of just kind of purely jiu-jitsu people. We're going to go Nick Fiore in this one. Nick Fiore, you know, coming in against Rebeski and eating all of his shots. Now, Given didn't really have too many moments in that fight, but still showed some decent boxing. He put some swelling on Rebeski's face. Chase Hooper, on the other hand, just got pummeled in his last fight. And Nick Fiore is a jiu-jitsu guy as well. Not that I think Chase Hooper probably still more unorthodox, harder to deal with jiu-jitsu, but Hooper's going up a weight class, a guy who can hit harder, possibly. And yeah, we're sticking with Nick Fiore by knockout.
Yeah, I mean, Chase Hooper's coming up to 155 here, so I don't know how he'll deal with the power up a weight class, but maybe it'll be better for him. But not having to cut so much weight. But yeah, I do like Fiore in this one.
I hope he fills into his frame as time goes on, but I don't see it so far. He's Nick Fiore, obviously haven't seen enough. And again, you're going to see this as a running theme. I think there's too many sketchy fights on this card. The expectation, I think, in this card is we're probably going to have maybe 3 total bets. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pick 'em odds, too. It's like, who do you really pick? I mean, I can't really get a good read on either one. So
right. When we get to the next, the other fight, we'll talk about the one bet that you've placed so far. Next fight, Ilir Latifi versus Rodrigo Nasimento. Taking taking Nasimento in this matchup. Ilir Latifi, though, however, pound for pound, probably one of my most disliked fighters on the UFC roster. Just because he just likes to lay on people, and he's really pointless. He asked for a performance bonus after his fight against Oleinik, which sucked. I just have never been a fan of him. He doesn't do anything important. And Nasimento, nothing special here. I think Nasimento should abandon this fight going to the ground, try to get up whenever it does, and try to outstrike him on the feet. I'm thinking just by a decision, but totally staying away from this fight as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning decision, not betting it or anything, but Nasimento, 10 years younger. I think Latifi's just too inactive on the feet. So hopefully Nasimento will be able to take advantage of that and hopefully win a decision.
Hopefully, man. I can't stand Latifi. I hope that he's done soon. Nasimento, Tanner Boser stuff was kind of weird because Tanner Boser weighs such a weird amount. But
they both have split decisions over Tanner Boser.
Right. All right, moving on. Next fight we have Orion Cosce versus Gibert Urbina. I'm feeling Gibert Urbina in this. I feel like the Cosce brothers aren't very sellable to me. They're shorter wrestlers, and they use a lot of their cardio to try to get the fight to the ground, where they don't do incredibly well. Gibert Urbina has fought better grapplers. He's fought Sean Brady before. I just see Urbina finding a knockout in this fight. I think Cosce leaves himself exposed too many times. Also, Gibert Urbina, we've seen him on the tough stuff, losing to Tresean Gore and beating Brian, or also losing to Brian Battle. But he's moving down to 170 here. Cosce also fought Philip Rowe, a similar sized opponent. And I looked at Urbina's Instagram. He looks like he's in good shape. Looks like he's ready to go. And Cosce's stand-up is just so freaking bad from what I've seen. When he fought Blood Diamond, it was so shitty. And Blood Diamond's not good at all either. And Urbina, I think it's just going to be a good underdog here. I don't feel confident enough to play it, but I do like him. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Urbina's been out for 2 years now, so it'll be interested to see how he comes back, how he looks coming back. Still only 27 years old. I mean, hopefully he'll be able to take advantage of his length here. I mean, he's got a 4-inch height advantage, and 3-inch reach advantage here. So
right. Urbina as well. If you guys have watched that Sean Brady fight, there's actually a moment where Urbina almost knocked him out with a flying knee, but somehow Brady ate it well and kept going. But we'll move on. Urbina KO round 2. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I think that's how you say it, versus Vanessa Demopoulos. We're picking Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Vanessa has a very low takedown accuracy. I believe it's like 15%. However, she's been able to get by with some of these fights. She got a robbery win versus Jinyu Frey. However, Karolina's got a lot of UFC experience, fought a lot of the top girls in this division. You got Grasso, Yan Jiaonan, Rose Namajunas, Joanna. But, a common struggle of her game seems to be the ground, and, that is where Vanessa wants to take the fight, but we'll see. I think Kowalkiewicz can pull out this decision.
Yeah, I mean, Karolina record might not look as good as late, but, I mean, she's losing to the top women, Jessica Andrade, Grasso, Jan, Penny. I won't say top there, but yeah, I mean, Vanessa, she only seems to perform well when Joe Rogan's in attendance, so Karolina will be able to pull this one off.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, age, I feel like something that concerns me when I watch Karolina's fights is she's like pretty skinny, and then when she gets in the clinch with people, they kind of toss her around. Vanessa could easily just take this fight right to the ground, get it over with, but this is also a chick fight. I'm not dying on any hill for this one, and I will take Karolina and move on. Next fight, we have, I always say his name, I think I say his name wrong, Maheshate or Maheshate. It's one of those two, versus Viacheslav Borshchev. Taking Maheshate, I'll just say. I think that just Borshchev, I can't get a good read on. He's got phenomenal boxing, with a nice defensive guard and, some good components there. But that wrestling still, I think even Maheshate could dive in, get some takedowns when he wants to on Borshchev. I think Borshchev gives up his back too easily, and people are able just to hold on to his hips. He trains at Team Alpha Male. I don't know if he's going to be improved to the point where it's necessary, but Maheshate as well can use maybe a little reach advantage as well as his kicks at range to control Borshchev. So I'm thinking a decision win here for him. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that's all right with me. Borshchev's never been finished, so I do like that part. Same with Maheshate, he's never been finished either. They do tend to finish all their fights, though, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah, if Maheshate can get this fight to the ground, I think he'll be able to win it. But if he can't, tough fight to call. But yeah, Maheshate by decision.
That's how I feel. I just don't see this fight making a lot of sense. It's like Borshchev only wants to strike on the feet, and Maheshate, just got Rafa Garcia out-grappled him the whole time, although he got up a lot in that fight, and he still put on a decent performance for Rafa being a really good competitor, and tough fight to call. I don't blame anyone for picking either side. I'd rather just sit back and watch this one and get a better read on each fighter as it goes forward. So,
right.
Maheshate by decision. Next fight, we have Michael Johnson versus Diego Ferreira. I'm thinking Michael Johnson by decision. Diego Ferreira, I think he's on the point of his career where things are starting to go. He's starting to look closer to retirement. Michael Johnson is kind of back on this upswing and showed takedown defense, in his last fight. However, Diego is more of a guy that wants to get the fight to the fence in order to get those takedowns. So maybe a new position where Johnson isn't as used to it. However, even if you watch the Clay Guida fight, there's a lot of fence grappling on that, and Johnson does a good job still of defending some of those positions, even though he ends up losing that fight. But I just think that he's going to be able to outbox at range Diego Ferreira. What do you think here?
Yeah, I think Johnson's takedown defense will still staying strong here. I think Johnson will be able to piece him up on the feet and win a decision. Ferreira, I don't really see him getting this fight to the ground or being able to keep him there if he does get him there.
Yeah, it could have looked somewhat competitive in the striking just because I think Johnson might be looking like he might be trying to protect himself from the takedowns commonly, and it might leave him off balance. And he is off balance at times on the feet when he's trying to throw his heavy punches, so he will have this power edge. I don't believe Diego Ferreira has ever been finished. Oh, he's been finished by Gamrot in Greater Gillespie, but the Gamrot one was really weird, and that probably wouldn't happen on the feet because those two were on the ground. But moving on, next fight we have Andre Fiallo versus Buckley, taking Joaquin Buckley here. Fiallo is just so obsessed. He's so obsessed with counterpunching, and we've just seen him pay in the last two fights for trying to be a pure counterpuncher. He's just sitting in the pocket, watching your head, and waiting for his left hook to land. But then everybody else is also finding strikes on him. Like Jake Matthews went into those exchanges and won. And Buckley's just going to have the volume advantage here. Not to mention when he fought Chris Curtis, mixed it up really well to the body. And I see Buckley getting a second round knockout in this fight. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I do like Fiallo, but I think Buckley here is the wise decision picking him. I just think Fiallo getting knocked out twice in his last two fights, and there weren't. He took a beating in both those. So yeah, I think Buckley will be able to find the chin of Fiallo and knock him out.
When I see this fight too, I look at levels of the game that they're good at, and Buckley's been really good recently in the UFC at using all of his tools. He's been punching to the body. He hit Chris Curtis to the body quite a bit, using a lot more kicks in his game now as well. However, it is how he got knocked out versus Chris Curtis was off of a high kick. But Andre Fiallo, like I said, he's me sitting there waiting for Buckley to come in. I don't feel the confidence really to bet Buckley directly, just because he has been a guy who's gotten counterpunch knocked out before commonly. So I do like the under 2.5 whenever that line gets released. It'll probably be set.
I'm hoping that's not destroyed.
I hope they set it at 2.5 and not at 1.5, because I don't feel like parlaying it. I'd rather play it straight. But yeah, Buckley.
Yeah, 1.5 might be sketchy, but I do like the 2.5.
Right, I could see a little bit of a staring contest for the first round.
Right.
Moving on, Emily Ducote versus Lupita Godinez. Taking Emily Ducote, I mean, Lupita, I think everyone overestimated her ability when she fought Ariane Carnelossi, who was horrible on the ground, and it made Lupita look amazing. But then you come into the Angela Hill fight, she looked lost. And then the Cynthia Calvillo fight, I thought she won that fight, 2 of the rounds for sure. But she just went into a lot of 50-50 exchanges, and I think Ducote's just got better game planning, better striking, using some lead kicks. I think she can defend the takedowns. She defended all the takedowns versus Jessica Penne. And we saw her use a lot of lead kicks against Jessica Penne as well at range. I think she has a power edge. And I'm thinking Ducote by decision here.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. She's got to take advantage of her leg kicks. That really destroyed Penne in that fight. And then Lupita, I mean, her IQ seems pretty low here. Not attempting to take down against Angela Hill, so if she does attempt one, I think Ducote will be able to defend it and piece her up on the feet. It'll
be a split decision fight. I really bet it will be.
Oh, yeah.
Like down to the wire close.
That might be one of the bets.
Yeah, it might be. And also Lupita Godinez, I think she's on like a week's notice here because Emily Ducote is supposed to fight Polyana Viana. And I think that just got switched out this week. So also think that I'll take her preparation. So Emily Ducote by decision. Moving on. Also, don't think that should be a main card fight. Or, yeah, but it will be. Moving on. Edmund Shabazian versus Anthony Hernandez. Taking Anthony Hernandez. I became a huge fan of Anthony Hernandez in the last year and a half, I feel like. Just truly, I really think he's like Colby Covington of the 185 division, but the difference is he has submissions in his game. And Edmen Shahbazyan, we've known him to be like a pretty fast finisher, knockout artist. But we all know he struggled with his grappling. Derek Brunson taking advantage of him. Jack Hermanson taking advantage of him. And Imavov as well. Now he's worked on his grappling and stuff, but Anthony Hernandez has this chain wrestling ability and pace that I think Shahbazyan won't be able to handle down the stretch, and I see a submission happening in this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, Hernandez has that pace and pressure. He has really good elbows in the clinch as well, and he mixes up his takedowns. He doesn't, he's not desperate for the takedowns, but he'll, piece you up on the feet, then shoot a takedown. Work you on the feet, and then take a takedown. So he mixes his game up really well, and his last fight against Marc-Andre Barriault was probably as impressive as you're going to find.
Yeah, that was a true breakout performance.
Yeah, for real. That was maybe one of the best performances of the year. He completely dominated that entire fight.
And then sorry, go ahead.
And for Edmen, in his last fight against Delcha, that was kind of a gimme fight. In the Imavov fight, I think if Imavov had some better submission skills, I think he probably would have been able to find a submission there, but he did end up finding the elbows and the crucifix. But yeah, if Hernandez was in those positions, I think he would be able to submit Shahbazyan. So
right,
I do like Hernandez by submission. Yeah.
Also, I feel like Shahbazyan has looked very hesitant in his most recent performance. Like he's just was making. it wasn't a bad thing. He just looked like he was really kind of nervous to come back. You lost 3 in a row. When you're 12-0 initially, you're like believing that you're going to be the next big guy, and when you get crushed like that 3 times in a row, it'll break your will. And also, I've noticed this, Edmen, his movements are all high energy movements. When he's in the clinch, and he might look really good in round 1 and defend a takedown and kind of throw Hernandez off to the side, but using all that strength early will end up being his detriment. I got a round 2 submission. I think that it's just in a grind on Shahbazyan a little bit.
Yeah, Edmen's he's always game for a knockout in round 1, but if it gets out of round 1, I really like Hernandez to take over.
Right.
Edmen knocked out Delcha with a knee. Maybe if Hernandez shoots a poor takedown and Edmen can time it, maybe find a knee. But yeah, I like Hernandez a lot.
Kind of thinking about a good bet in my head right now for a little sprinkle bet. Hernandez by submission in rounds 2 or 3 will probably be pretty nice. So I'll be looking at that.
Yeah, that does sound like a good prop.
Final fight, Mackenzie Dern versus Angela Hill. We put this pick out last week, taking Angela Hill. Guys, please drop a like and subscribe. Again, 8-3 in our picks last week. Didn't win on our bets, but that's just the way she goes. Can't win every week. Anyway, Angela Hill, I feel like at this point in her career, she's just improving, and we've always came to the assumption that she has horrible takedown defense, and it's not incredible, but Mackenzie Dern's takedown accuracy is only 11%. She really doesn't have a double leg or anything special. Her takedowns are pushing people up against the fence and doing no damage from there on. And she's came short in her last 3 performances. The Yan Xiaonan fight looked really bad. Tisha Torres fight I thought was a robbery win for her. She shouldn't have got that W. And then Marina Rodriguez, she just got demolished by. So Angela Hill kind of on the upswing again. Virna Jandiroba, if you watch that fight, Angela Hill actually fended off some of the takedowns in that fight and got into good scrambles and ended up on top and defended the submissions as well. That's a also very credible jiu-jitsu artist right there. I'm taking this one to a decision for Hill. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Dern will be a little too desperate to find a takedown, and Hill will be able to read those shots easily and win the fight on the feet. I just think she's a way better striker and should have the takedown defense to keep it on the feet.
Yeah, I think her biggest mistake in this fight could be for Hill would be like throwing too many low leg kicks, something that Dern can grab onto. Because from what I've seen, there's been a couple times in Angela's fights where she's thrown leg kicks and it gets grabbed, and she just falls straight over. So that's the concern. You also have to think about how Hill, if Dern even gets a takedown, she has to finish it in that round, and then try to win at least 3 of the rounds could be pretty tough for her to do. Hill's been looking really good in the clinch. When she fought Emily Ducote in her last fight, used her knees super effectively. I just don't think Dern should be in the main event, like, again, possibly ever. I don't get the UFC's pushing for her to fight. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I think Shabazi and Hernandez would have been a cooler main event, but anyway, we'll move on to the bets now of last week. We got a little tough go, minus 1.39 units. I started the night off with Gabe Green. I didn't know that he would run across the cage with no defense. And
like it's spastic.
Oh, it was crazy. I mean, right away, he came out there, I was like, damn, Green came to fight. And then 10 seconds later, I was like, damn, Green came to get knocked out. Battle timed him, but Gabe also wasn't even looking where his punches were going. He was just throwing them like Juliana Pena, pretty much. So
yeah, that was a good comparison.
And then prop bets: Carl Williams, Chase Sherman over 2.5. Got a nice little play there. Sloppy fight. I thought that it was a close fight, and Williams is another person to stay away from for sure in the future. Moving down, Olberg and Pretoria under 1.5. We all know, and I'll put the finish. We have the finish in there as well for him. Again, that lead left hand, just put him right down. Got the dub. Down further, Tim Means, Alex Morono over 2.5. I didn't get the option actually to watch this fight. I had to do something during this, so I missed it. I saw there was just a guillotine choke. I don't know if there was a finish even close to happening, but from what I saw in the stats, it seemed like it was headed towards over 2.5, so I don't really regret the bet, but can't win them all. On the next one, D-Rod and Ian Gary go over 2.5. Instantly in this fight, Ian Gary threw a body kick, and I saw D-Rod bring both of his hands down to try to block it, and I was like, that is not a good sign. And then from there, Ian Gary attempted one head kick that kind of slapped D-Rod's face, and then he had the ending sequence head kick.
Yeah. He got one with the end of his toes, and he was like,
right.
He was like, if he does that again, he connects well with it. He could be going down.
It's crazy how big Gary looked in that fight. I thought that they would be kind of evenly sized, but Gary looked huge, man.
And he wasn't the one to miss weight.
Right.
Initially to miss weight.
Right. And Gary he's so fast. I mean, D-Rod, I know I said this before, when he throws his left hand, he charges it up so much that, Gary just timed little short hooks on him and stuff. And D-Rod had a decent jab, but he didn't use any leg kicks. I think people got to start using inside leg kicks or something against Gary. You got to do something to chop at those legs, so...
Yeah, that was a breakout performance for Ian Gary. I don't think his batting line will be any better than what you got today.
I got to see him face a wrestler, and then
yeah,
I've seen him defend takedowns pretty easily, but I think he could honestly make Kamaru Usman. He'd make Kamaru Usman look a fool on the feet, And if he could defend,
he does have a judo background, so. His takedown defense seems all right from what we've seen.
Right. But yeah, a lot of people lost on that over. But D-Rod, I don't think he other than that like guillotine from.
That's the first time he's been knocked out.
Right, exactly. Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker under 1.5. Man, a little rough. I was a little bit annoyed with this one. Johnny Walker was close to a finish in round 1, and then it just kind of became a staring contest for the whole fight. Anthony Smith is a weird dude, man. Like, the disrespecting the family thing, and then he just stands there and says that, doesn't do anything about it. I don't get him, man. I don't get any of it. Johnny Walker, I think he could have gotten a finish as well, but, why risk it when you're ahead, I guess? Smith just left his legs out there to be leg kicked, and overall a really weird fight. I don't know what you thought.
Well, I didn't see this fight, so from the looks of it, it looked interesting. It
had some decent moments, but it was also it was meh. Like we said, I think in our last week's breakdown, Jairzinho and Jailton really didn't need to be a main event. Clearly saw that. I think the 3 fights that we got wrong were Gabe Green, Eon Kim, but that was a bullshit one. Everyone knows that. And then we got Anthony Smith wrong. So other than that, pretty good card for us by picks, not by bets. But
yeah, I think they just wanted Almeida to maybe push him heavier or
get his name out there.
Yeah,
right.
Push his name out there for the heavyweight division.
Do you want to announce your bet for this next week? I forgot to do that before.
Yeah, I mean, I got Hernandez and the lock of the card, Natalia Silva.
Yeah, together. And I think we were talking about our plan this week was literally just every bet, possibly every bet, just tie Natalia Silva to, and her line movement over the past 36 hours has been insane. So,
yeah, I mean, last week I saw it opened at -500 on DK, and then like the next day it was at -600, and then it was back down to like -540. That's where I got her at, and now today it's at like -720, something ridiculous.
It's crazy because on BetUS she was -550 to -900 overnight. Crazy. So
yeah, her line's getting destroyed.
Right.
Hernandez's line has come down to a better line now than what I got it at.
True. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. You got anything else to say?
Nope, that'll do it.
All right, guys, stay tuned for the bets this Thursday, and peace.
Peace.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now.